This is Color Theory Notes, Part 4. In this lesson, we're going to look at the temperature of color and how it can affect our compositions. Here you see that we have the subtractive color wheel on the screen with our warm and cool colors. Cool colors on the color wheel tend to be the blues, greens, and purples, while the warm colors tend to be the yellows, oranges, and reds. If we were to kind of draw a line down the center of the color wheel, it would look something like this. Now there's still purple on each side and there's still green on each side of this color wheel. So that's not to say that there's not purple that's not cool or green that's not warm. It's simply showing the transition in between the two areas on the screen. Let's look at a couple of pictures briefly. Let's jump over to Photoshop. This is a very cool scene. If I grab my color picker and I go into my eyedropper tool, I will start sampling some of these colors in the foreground. You'll see that they're very desaturated, very cool. That one's on the far right hand side of the spectrum, so it is more pure than that last one we just looked at. And there's just different types as we go in here, barely moving pixel to pixel. You can see all the different shades of blue that make up this composition. You can notice the circle bouncing around as the scale goes up and down across the blue spectrum. Even the sky, just a few clicks away, you see the variation in the sky. As we get lower in the sky, it becomes more white and gray. As we get higher in the sky, it tends to meander towards the pure side. There's a definite feeling when you look at pictures like this. You can just feel the coldness. You can feel the ice, and your body may tense up. You may get goosebumps. It's a natural brain function when you see a picture that invokes such a strong temperature. If we look at our warm picture, it's kind of the same day. It's a very nice fall day. Looks like it could be anywhere between 50 to 60 degrees outside. You might need a light jacket. If we come in and start sampling our yellows in the tree, you see that we start bouncing around from the pure oranges into some of the yellows. See that orange jumped really hard into a more brown color with that leaf, and it's a very pure brown. We'll jump around up in here towards, maybe pick up some of these greens, some of these olive colors. Mostly staying on the right hand side of the spectrum, if you'll notice. We do get a little bit to the middle, but most of the warm colors are going to be more pure, as they tend to stick to that side. Okay. Let's go back to Illustrator very briefly. This is a relative temperature scale. Temperature is, when we're talking about color, relative to the colors next to it. If we look at this middle color here, this purple, you can tell that as we get from the center to the left-hand side, these colors become warmer relative to the middle. As we go to the right, they become cooler relative to that center color. So always be careful the colors you put together when you're dealing with the warm and the cold, because if you have a color that's in the middle that could go either way, like this purple, if you place it next to these warmer colors, it's going to make the composition look warmer. It's going to make that purple warm, versus putting it next to some cold colors on the right-hand side to make these purple, or this purple, look cooler. Okay? Colors are also what we call active and passive. Warmer colors tend to advance in space, meaning that when you look at compositions, they tend to move towards your eyes and towards your depth of field. Cooler colors tend to recede or go backwards towards the background. Okay, as you see this square right here, you can tell that this yellow seems to be advancing towards your eyes. The blue tends to be kind of sitting in the back, hoping the teacher doesn't see it. Okay, let's hop back into Photoshop real quick for one last example. This is a night scene, and what you can tell by looking at this composition, it is a very cold landscape. It could be an ice world. Those could be glaciers. The temperature is probably very low. Obviously, it's a night scene with the moon in the background. It looks very inhospitable. The warm colors in this composition, such as the light on the boat, or the light on the torches, or the light emanating from the structure here, even up to the buildings on top, tend to give out that warmth. Your eyes focus on those as spaces where it wouldn't be less hostile, it would be more welcoming, it would be more inviting. So color really does make compositions stand out, and it really does set the tone for your artwork. This has been Color Notes number 4, and we look forward to seeing you next time.